Hello, my name is Kylie Fay and I would like to discuss effective pedagogical practices for teaching the whole child. What are pedagogical practices? Max van Menen describes them as the art and science of educating children. I will be looking at 3 types of pedagogical practices and how they are applied in primary schools. Firstly, I will be looking at student wellbeing and pastoral care. Then we will look at effective teaching practices for good academic outcomes. And thirdly, classroom resources. Student wellbeing. The University of Melbourne defines student wellbeing as a state of psychological functioning that allows students to thrive, flourish and learn. Pastoral care is the duty of teachers to ensure student wellbeing. In effect, it is anything that affects a student or their learning. There are many factors of student wellbeing. These can be broadly categorised into 4 groups: a warm and inclusive environment, order and safety, interest and enthusiasm, and a successful learning environment. A warm and inclusive environment. It is important for all students to feel welcome in their classroom. A learning area where they feel comfortable and free to participate is one that will increase the students' ability to learn. It is important that teachers nurture their students and make sure that they feel welcomed, free to be themselves, and feel that they have the right to learn and feel equal amongst their fellow classmates. Order and safety. All students have the right to and should feel safe both physically and emotionally in their learning environment. It is our job as teachers to ensure that our learning areas are safe and free from accidents waiting to happen, and that we have a zero tolerance for bullying. It is also part of our duty of care to watch over children and look out for signs of physical and emotional abuse, whether they are occurring in the schoolyard or elsewhere. The effect that any of these can have on a student and their learning is significant, so we want to maintain order and safety at all times for our students. Interest and enthusiasm. As teachers, we must maintain our enthusiasm towards our classes, as do we want our students to. We don't want for a student to turn around and say to us, "Even you think this is boring." So we need to make sure we maintain both the students' interest and our own at all times. This can be done by varying the ways in which we teach and learn. Different learning activities such as maths games, role plays, outside classes will assist in maintaining each student's interest. It is important to continuously think of different ways to approach topics, as otherwise your classroom and teaching methods will become very autonomous. A successful learning environment. Create a culture of success in your classroom. All students should feel that success is achievable regardless of their capabilities. An example of this was in the movie Dangerous Minds, where the teacher, Michelle Pfeiffer, told each of the students that they had an A. The trick was that they had to keep it. None of her students were used to getting A's, so for them, this helped them to create a successful learning environment, as they wanted to keep the A. They didn't want to lose it, so they worked hard for it. Personalised learning can assist in creating successful learning, as tasks are varied upon each student's learning capabilities, thus giving them the chance to achieve success. Good academic outcomes. In order for students to achieve good academic outcomes, we must cater for the different learning style of each child and give them a more personalised approach to learning. When preparing our lessons, we need to again take into account the different levels of learning abilities in the class and then configure lesson plans around this. Positive feedback is also a good method of achieving good academic outcomes, as receiving positive feedback will entice students to achieve it again. Classroom resources. There are so many resources used in classrooms to assist in teaching students. We can use computers, books, maps, cameras, toys. The list is endless. We can also look at the classroom itself as a resource. For example, the table set up in the room can be classed as a resource, as it may be enabling learning. Phil Beadle said that a classroom layout where tables are grouped together as opposed to being in rows is more advantageous to its students, as they can work collaboratively in smaller groups, which is also an example of communities of practice approach to learning. In conclusion, it is our job as teachers to give our students the best possible support for learning that we can. We need to give them the best version of ourselves so that they can go forward with their learning and achieve their own goals. Thank you for listening to my discussion on pedagogical practices in teaching the whole child.
Created using Powtoon.